Today I'm going to talk about why the Zeiss Contax lenses are my favorite vintage lenses to shoot with. And this lens set was really important for me early in my career. I got it, I think, before everyone was buying vintage lenses, and it gave me a look that I could really lean into, that people appreciated and sort of sought after. I maybe don't use them quite as much as I used to, only because, modern technology has come so far with autofocus and all the, creature comforts. Primes make you work a little more, they make you think a little bit more. Things have honestly changed a lot since I put together this set, 15 years ago I finished it off. I still keep them and I'll never get rid of them because I love to use them, and for me they speak to a time in my career, and of course the film that I shot with them. They just mean a lot to me sentimentally, but also I do grab them. Like when I need a quick shot in the studio and I want something to just look unique or have good character, I grab them. So I'll talk about each one, I think, a little bit and show you some shots from each one so you can make sense for yourself. The 35mm got its own video. I probably will do a video for each one of these lenses because I just think that they're special, and I know sometimes people are trying to figure out which version to use because there's a lot of information on the internet. So if you're new here, my name's Remzi. I'm a filmmaker based in Chicago. If you want cinematic tips, lens and gear breakdowns and reviews, but more than that, real world insights from a filmmaker who's creating narrative films and documentary films, that's me. I also write a bi-weekly filmmaking newsletter called The Film Life, so if you want to get up to speed quickly, you can hit that in the description as well. These lenses originally came from a Zeiss Contax set that I want to say was in like the 70s and the 80s for the Contax 35mm SLR system. Eventually the Contax just went away, but these were great lenses. At the time that they were made, they sort of say that they were made with the same coatings that were on like the Zeiss Super Speed Mark IIs. So people make comparisons between those lenses and these lenses, and I don't know if they're really the same, but I can see why. The nice thing is the lenses are pretty matched. They're not perfectly matched, but if you use the same set, I find that they tend to match pretty well. So let's talk about why these lenses still matter today, 40, 50 years later. They're sharp, but they're not overly clinical. They have lower microcontrast, which can kind of help make skin tones, just feel more organic. And they're relatively colored match with that kind of Zeiss color, that cooler, almost magenta type color. This very distinct Zeiss, and the microcontrast, from these lenses is still great. If you stop down a little bit, wide open, the soft ones are soft. Around 2.8, these lenses are extremely sharp. The 21 and the 28mm, I would still say, are some of the sharpest lenses that I own, which is crazy because the 28-2.8 you can find for like $200 on eBay. It's a steal. The color on these is cool, but it looks really good, I think, on skin tones. The lenses themselves are pretty soft, especially when you open them up, which can be very flattering. And I think in general, you'll find a pretty accurate but pleasing look on the world. I think the way that they render the subjects, the way they render stuff from background and foreground, they just give great separation and great character to your autofocus areas. All the lenses have a unique look, and especially because they tend to be on the faster side, they really help tell the story by pulling things off the background. These lenses do flare in a very unique, characteristic way. They sort of wash out with this, soft white that kind of overtakes everything. Even if you're getting just a little bit of flare, it can kind of wash it out. They get very soft versus, hard, sharp edges. It's not a bad look, but these lenses are not very flare resistant generally. A few of them in the set are. So another thing, the focus fall off on these lenses, the bokeh. They look really amazing. Some of them are different than others. It kind of depends. Some of them, like when you stop down, you get a sort of ninja star in the background, which some people like, some people don't like, and it kind of depends on the model number that you have. So that part is what can be a little confusing. It's probably better dealt with in its own video, but they almost all can focus extremely close, especially like the 21, the 28, the 35, obviously the 100 macro. They focus incredibly close. So you can get almost a macro shot, and the 35mm in this set is just one of the most beautiful lenses for handheld. It's not lightweight, but it feels substantial, and you can just get medium shots, tight shots, wide shots that are at that really fast f-stop and so soft that it just looks different. It looks different than like a G Master. I mean, I'm shooting this on a 24 1.4 G Master wide open, or you take a 35mm G Master wide open. They're great lenses for photography. They're amazing, but they're just never gonna have that softness. I don't think you want it necessarily in those types of lenses, but when you're getting these vintage lenses, you can lean into the character, and it can help give you like a signature look. Distinguishing distinguishing yourself these days is not about cameras as much. If you're a cinematographer, you gotta eventually become kind of camera agnostic, and you can get maybe softer roll off or better specs, but ultimately what you're actually seeing is the image, and that comes from the lens. So the lenses are gonna stick with you. And I do use the G Masters, and I love the G Masters for a totally different reason. But yeah, you can't go wrong with a nice vintage set. I should know, I've literally owned almost all of them. I've got these lenses sitting back here. Maybe I'll just pull them out one at a time and show you what they look like and talk about them. And then I will show you some images too, so you can kind of decide for yourself what you think about these lenses. Here's the quick overview on the Contax lenses. First, here we have the 21mm. You can see it. It's a really, really nice lens. It gives kind of a very specular kind of shot, which is interesting. It's the copy that I have has it's in great shape, and it is a 2.8, so that's the one downside. This lens, when I bought it, was extremely expensive. It's gotta be cheaper now. I mean, I think I paid almost $2,000 for it. And I have them declicked, and I've got the focus ring on there for all of them. So there you go, 21mm. And so here's the 28mm. This one is, it's short and stubby, I've added hoods to all of these to extend them. They're actually even a little bit smaller, but yeah, so you can see that I've added this hood in for like a matte box, and it's pretty nice. It helps cut the light a little bit. It's tiny, right? And this is also 2.8. Now there is an f2 version of this that's like really highly sought after. I never bought it. It was pretty expensive. And it was one I kind of always wished that I had, because people say that it's one of the best ones. It's much bigger and much heavier. I will say the 2.8, the 28-2.8 is actually one of my favorites in the set, because it's extremely sharp. It is small. Yeah, it's not as fast as the others, but every shot at 2.8 looks amazing. And I've taken this on hikes because it's small, taken some amazing prints that I've made from this. I think maybe some that I actually sell on my site. And it's an amazing lens. You'll always be happy with what you get. Yeah, so the 35 is heftier. 35s are always kind of said to be difficult to manufacture for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just because it sits so close to the lens, but also, they tend to be kind of these hyper speed ones. And so this is a 1.4, and I got it cleaned. Ooh, hey, who's that? Let's see if I can focus it. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh, it's the Sony autofocus. Oh my God, you gotta love that. That's so goofy. I like what I'm seeing here. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So maybe I'll just do the rest of the video like this. So the 35, it just has so much character. It's got such a shallow depth of field. You can get so close to things. So yeah, the 35 though is my favorite. Okay, well, let's see what else we got here. We've got the 50. Look, my old stickers are coming off because I've used them so much. Look at that. This is a beautiful lens. The 50 is also extremely small. We got the 85mm. This is a classic 85. 85s, I feel like they all look the same, from the outside, right? So it's a big lens, it's heavy, not too huge, and it's a 1.4. It's very, very, very soft, wide open, but it has almost no distortion. If you do the distortion test in Lightroom or Photoshop, it's got almost no distortion. And so it's a great portrait lens. I've used it to shoot tons of portraits. Okay, so here we go, 100mm macro. Now this lens, this is actually probably of all of them, the one that I currently use the most, because I use it to capture archival stuff. Like when I'm doing documentaries, a lot of times I'll do a tabletop capture where I get archival stuff. And for anything tabletop, it's great. Even my films, it's like, okay, you need a macro shot. Even if you're in a different lens set, I grab this one because it's super sharp. I'll stop at the f4. And as long as you're throwing light at it, it's got just, it looks like 100, it looks sharp, it looks great. It looks like a great lens. Fits in almost, anything for a good macro shot. So this one I still keep. So we've taken a look at these lenses outside. I've showed you shots of them. I think it's easy to get the overwhelm with lenses. I've had it. I've actually been selling a bunch because it's we have too many and you don't know what to use. So I think just having a set of lenses that you can live and die by, that you just use is great. The truth is I don't use these lenses as much as I used to, because with more modern options, I choose the modern convenience. When I'm doing advertising or commercials and stuff like that, a lot of times I still actually just use the G Masters because of the convenience. But if we want to look, I use these, Or otherwise, you know, we might rent something. Obviously, if you're renting, you know, Cooks or, you know, really nice classic lens sets, they're gonna look better, but these are smaller and they're affordable and you can own them and you can take them on your own films and projects. And if you're trying to put together a set of lenses that's more affordable, but still gives you a signature look, you're like, okay, you don't just wanna use the Sigmas or the Sonys or the Canons or the Rokinons. You want something that looks a little bit different and has its own character and gives you your own look. I think you cannot go wrong with the Contax lenses. In fact, they are my favorite among those. And I would guess that you can put together a set of these lenses and cinevise them for less than $4,000. And I shot a whole feature film on these lenses and they performed, they did great. And I love the character, I love the look, I think they're just cinematic. As a quick note, if you're into cinematic looks, I've made 5 free LUTs based on famous films and filmmakers that I love. You can find those linked in the description, check them out. These LUTs pair really well with the Contax glass, and I just think they're really versatile. I have them in a few different cameras. If you want them in more cameras, like the full-on looks with the grain and the halation and everything, those I sell. In that, I also include a couple of film looks based on actual film stocks that I've used. So if you're into film LUTs, those are part of the pack as well. And my final plug, I sell Blu-rays of my film Bad Animal, which I shot on Contax lenses. So if you want to support me, those are the ways you can do it. I hope you find the lenses interesting and you enjoyed this video. And if you want a couple of cool free looks, hit the link in the description. Thanks for watching. I will see you next week.